Hi, my name is Neil Hansen. I'm a cloud engineer here at OpenNebula, and today I'll be presenting the solution keynote for the VMware private cloud and how OpenNebula integrates with vCenter and how you can use this to create one central point of control for your various different resources. There's a diagram. It shows kind of how OpenNebula can combine all the different hypervisor technologies and do some shared networking, shared resources between those. And then up on the upper layer for the control for either you or your end users, we have the Sunstone GUI and the FireEdge GUI that can allow them to instantiate and control the lifecycle operations of these different machines and containers. We additionally have integrations with Terraform, Kubernetes, Ansible, and Docker, and you can use these all to varying different ways. For example, Kubernetes with one gate and one flow can be used to automatically make uh, auto scaling containers and services. And then with Docker, you can deploy Docker containers directly from the Docker Hub Marketplace, which we have integrated directly into OpenNebula. This gives you a lot of access to various different things. You can multi-tier applications, high availability, elasticity. We have federation, multi-cloud, and then multi-tenancy. So you can organize your resources, which we'll get into later. So OpenNebula and vCenter integration provide you a really seamless way to bring your existing infrastructure resources and upcoming resources together from vCenter. You can be integrated into just the one central OpenNebula. It allows you to do some cloud provisioning, have elasticity, and multi-tenancy features. It's very easy to install and upgrade and maintain. All of it's mostly done through the web-based graphical interfaces that we have. And additionally, OpenNebula being an open source software and an open company, our software is fully and completely open and customizable and modular, so that you can have a lot of control over the software if you have very specific or custom needs for the situation that you're in. OpenNebula has been a partner of VMware for quite a long time now. We are a regular participant in VMworld. We are an up-to-date member of the VMware Solutions Exchange. And there's also a link here to a blog post that was written by Michael from here at OpenNebula. And then here we have this picture showcasing where we're showing off our V1 cloud, which is an OVA you can download and deploy directly onto your vCenter to try out the OpenNebula software. Now, for what we've been doing here at OpenNebula for a while, getting ready for the Archeon release of version 6.4, we've implemented a lot of new features in for vCenter. Mainly, the big one is improving monitoring and high availability setups, and a new network driver that allows you to create and delete virtual networks without the use of OpenNebula hooks. Additionally, when you're importing those resources, we can filter for specific patterns if you only want certain resources managed by OpenNebula. And additionally, during VM instantiation, you can filter different networks and data stores based on the host that you're deploying to. Persistence can be toggled as well now with the imported templates and virtual machines. We added some driver configuration to change the VMDK format. It can be configured thick or thin. The marketplaces now can automatically export VM templates directly to the cluster without having to use a pre-existing empty template reference. And you can also now assign IP addresses to the virtual machines that are not registered by OpenNebula, but are registered by vCenter. And finally, the default VM prefix environment variable for vCenter VMs can now be completely nullified by just providing an empty string to that. And there's a couple other updates, as well as updates to other parts of the software that you're welcome to explore down here at the docs.opennebula.io link. And so as far as what kind of resources that we can import to OpenNebula to control here, is your clusters, the data stores for those and the images that they contain, the networks for those, the VM templates that you've already may have created and have sitting around, or some all the pre-existing wild VMs, which may be currently running or are at the very least deployed on your vCenter cluster. So multi-tenancy here allows you to both combine and segregate your resources in ways that they physically are not. So for example, maybe data center 1 is in the USA, and data center 2 is in the UK or somewhere else in Europe. We have AWS systems which may exist in very different regions, and the Equinix Metal systems which also may exist in regions. And we have this color coding to show kind of like the virtual data centers on how you would say like the DevOps team virtual data center has resources from data center 1 and 2, different amounts, and then they also have one of the nodes from AWS and Equinix Metal. Then you have your web developers with more AWS nodes for who they need that. And then you host most of your external customers on your other data store or in Equinix. That's just kind of an example to show you what kind of things you can do where even though you have one data center in one place, it can be separated out into multiple virtual data centers, and you can combine those resources with other locations into one or multiple virtual data centers to control everything from one central location. All right, today we have a short demo prepared for you. Previously, we've imported some of these other AWS resources and everything. This one's just going to be for the vCenter cluster. The first part of it is going to be from the admin side of things, importing all the resources necessary, getting a template set up, and a wild VM for an end user. And then we'll log into the FireEdge GUI and explore what the user would kind of see and perform some control on the virtual machines there, as well as create a virtual machine to show you that whole process. Okay. And here, so we're in the Sunstone admin interface and logged in as one admin. Go over here to the host page and we'll add a host, change the type to VMware vCenter, and we'll just have to fill out the host name and the credentials information here. Once that's done, we can look at the available list of clusters and select the clusters we want to import. I'm just going to do these two for right now for this example. You can see it gives you the ID number where they were imported, and then we can go to the host page and see the first one is already monitored, and within a few seconds, the second one is also monitored. Now we can go to the virtual networks here, go up into the add and import, and we'll select one of these clusters, get it networks, and we'll see the networks that are both assigned to just that cluster as well as multiple clusters. We'll import those. We kind of do the same thing on cluster 2 because there's some networks only assigned to this one as well. And the shared ones won't show up here since they're already imported. Similar process for data stores. We're going to go in here, do the same thing, take the import and check the clusters for the various resources that are available. And here we do have a shared one as well. So we'll import that here, but we do also have a local data store for each cluster, so we'll have to get from both of them. Okay. Once those are good, we can go into the template, the VMs here, and we'll import all of the existing VM templates that we have inside of vCenter. So we'll go here, very similar process. We'll go just select all of them and import. It'll import both the templates as well as the images into the cluster. And then under cluster 2, we have some wild VMs. We're going to go look here. It's just in the host page under the wilds tab. We can see all the wild VMs here. And selecting all of those and import those wilds. Once those are fully imported, we can go over here into the instances, refresh the page, and see that there are wild VMs. One of them is running here, and this is the one that I'm going to assign to this test user that I've created previously. And then we'll go down here into the apps. We're going to install an Alpine Linux appliance. Download this to OpenNebula. We'll select the NFS shared data store on our vCenter, and that will start downloading the image. Meanwhile, I'm going to reassign these resources over to this test user. Let's do the template as well here. And once that's all done, we'll go double check that the image has been completed. And it looks like it's ready to go. So we're done here in the admin part of things. I'm going to sign out here, and we're going to go move over into the FireEdge GUI. Already got the test user credentials filled out here. We'll just go and sign in through here, show all active groups here. And this is, now we're at the new Sunstone FireEdge interface. And we can see this VM that we imported previously. Sees it's running, it's ours. We can power it off, and that'll start that process. And while that's powering off, we'll go ahead over to the template and see that template that we installed as the admin as well. And now, since this is our template, we can instantiate this virtual machine. We'll give it a name, but we'll leave all the capacity and everything by default. We'll just make one of them as well. And then here's, if you needed some extra resources for extra storage or networking, I'm just going to leave that default as well for the example here. Now you can see the wild VM is marked as powered off. We could turn that back on if we needed to. However, we'll go to this demo VM here. We'll refresh the page just to see if it's up and running yet, and it is. And we can click here, see if it's running. Everything looks good, so we'll check the VMware remote console here, and it's already booted up. We can see into the screen here. We can click on here. We can interact with it, and that's kind of the short of it of how you get everything set up from vCenter and OpenNebula, and get some VMs deployed, set them up for other users to use, and then you'll be ready to work on all your resources. You repeat the process for multiple systems, and that'll give you more control over everything. And another thing I'd like to just take a second acknowledgement to sponsors for this event, for this conference, Linbit and Storepool. Special thanks to them, sponsors of this year's edition of our conference, as well as the European Union's Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Program that's helped us get everything together here. Want to just reiterate that this is our new version of 6.4 Archeon we've just released. You can download it from this QR code here. It'll take you directly to it, or the opennebula.io/Archeon. Or if you already do have everything, you can just upgrade to it. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I hope that I was able to provide some information and some insight as to how you could control your resources and take advantage of the features that OpenNebula has developed. Thank you.